So the Pittsburgh Steelers just made a pretty smart move today. They just announced today they've made a signing. They've signed former Houston Texans offensive lineman Nick Broker, and then in a corresponding move released Lecitus Smith. Now, not a big monetary investment on Broker, 1 year for only $1.03 million, and this leaves only one spot open on the summer 91-man roster. Now, this isn't a frontline roster decision. This isn't a starter, but it is very much needed. A lot of depth is needed for this line, especially after the injuries that we saw last year in Pittsburgh. And also, each one of these moves, they really matter when constructing a team for the regular season. So a little bit about Broker. And also in this video, I'm going to talk about how the Steelers didn't quite get what they wanted on a decision that was just made today by the league. So more on that in a few minutes, but let's get specifically to Broker. We're talking about a 7th round pick by the Buffalo Bills in 2023. He played in 9 games last year on special teams and along the line. The guy went to school at Ole Miss, 6'4", 305 pounds, good size, 32.5-inch arms. And if you look at him, in college, he just had really nice play strength and run blocking ability in college. Really good experience against the SEC. He just lacked the foot speed to play tackle at the pro level, and he's really settled in at guard. That's where he was primarily with Houston. Now, once again, this isn't a frontline roster decision, but it's very much needed because after the draft, the Steelers, it was still obvious that depth was needed across the offensive line. Now, I'm not saying they should have used huge draft capital. They did that last year. Most notably, I think Zach Frazier at center was possibly the best player that you guys got out of the draft last year. The line needs to stay healthy. It should be a team strength, but in the same breath, looking at 2 starting offensive linemen for last year, no longer on the team. Daniels is gone. They left in free agency. Also, some key depth pieces, those are no longer here. So quality depth is now severely lacking. This signing is one that could be of great use if it works out well. 1 or 2 reliable veterans should fix this depth problem on this line. Calvin Anderson, I think he's the likely swing tackle. The biggest need was at guard or center following the draft. Injuries are going to happen. And Broker, he fits that need. He also has some versatility. It's a low-risk investment. Every single year you get guys like him come in. See if we can coach him up, see what you have. Maybe he's going to pop in camp and you have more depth on this offensive line. Very low-risk acquisition. And looking at over his 2 years with the Texans, Broker, he only played in 12 games. He played tackle and guard at different points, but the Steelers list Broker as a guard. That means he's going to compete for a roster spot on the interior of this offensive line. But honestly, Broker, he was mostly used on special teams in Houston. And then you're looking at the Steelers letting Nate Herbig walk this offseason. Depth on the interior of this line remained a big question for this team after the draft. And Broker, he brings some experience that could, at the very least, help push this competition forward during camp. So a little bit about who the Steelers released in Smith. Smith was released by the Patriots earlier this offseason, claimed off the practice squad from the Green Bay Packers in the middle of last season, and he was a 22 6th-round pick by the Arizona Cardinals. He's been all over the league, to be honest. His first 3 seasons in the NFL, he played for the Cardinals, Packers, Patriots, Philadelphia Eagles, Houston Texans. He was on for a cup of coffee with the Steelers, and now he is released. So let's get to kind of some other news. The Steelers didn't quite get their way. The thing that I'm talking about is the tush push, the brotherly shove. It's here to stay for the upcoming season. So really, the biggest news to come out of the NFL owners' meetings, it didn't have direct connections to the Steelers, but it's going to affect you guys nonetheless. It's after rounds of discussion, a round of voting. I think it stayed in the league by 2 votes. The ban proposal for the tush push, the quarterback sneak play, the reason that Jalen Hurts is so valuable in fantasy football, right? He gets like 15 rushing touchdowns a year. The tush push, the measure to ban it was set forth by the Green Bay Packers. 22 of the 24 required votes to outlaw it. That's how many were gotten for the measure to ban it. The Philadelphia Eagles, main team to run the play, of course. The brotherly shove is another way of talking about it. I like that better than the tush push. The tush push sounds kind of gross, but this becomes relevant, right? The Steelers, it's relevant in two ways. Now that it has not been banned, its popularity, it might cause it to be run by other teams, including those with mobile quarterbacks. Baltimore Ravens, they definitely might put this in their repertoire with obviously their mobile quarterback. And second, the Steelers were actually part of the movement to ban the play. The Steelers did not want it. And in an informal tally taken at the beginning of the month, the Steelers were named as one of the 16 teams to initially back the Packers' proposal to ban it in the NFL. Now they're going to have to survive in a league that a play is still legal, that the Steelers believe to be illegal. Steelers, a good thing, they still boast one of the best defenses in the NFL. Lots of pass rush, a really strong defensive line. You guys really bolstered that in the draft this year. That was really nice to see. You know what? It's a tough play to stop, but the way that I feel, football is about I push, you push. It's a battle of wills, right? I don't think the solution is to ban a play that you can't stop. Instead, learn how to stop it. And that's something that the Steelers need to learn, as other teams might start putting this into their playbook. And it's possible that changes get made in regards to how a team on offense is allowed to line up for the play. That's still a possibility that there are some tweaks as to what's legal and what's illegal as far as the tush push. But it could provide a huge advantage if the offensive lineup is tweaked just a little bit. So teams like the Steelers with really powerful defensive line play, really good linebacker play like the Steelers have, it could kind of tip the balance and make this a little more stoppable. And it's also possible the rule gets reviewed next offseason. But for now, the Steelers are going to have to deal with it with the other league of other teams, especially the Eagles running it with impunity at a really high success rate. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think. I frankly think that football is a man's game. You push, they push. The strongest desire, the strongest push, the toughest team, the toughest line gets the advantage and wins the play. Other people will argue that the Philadelphia Eagles, for one, to get a first down, they only need 9 yards because that 1 yard is almost automatic. I think as a team, you examine it, you find a way to do it as well. But you guys let me know in the comments. And also, there's still no impending signing of Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot of rumors right now that actually one of Rodgers' friends, someone in his inner circle, actually is battling cancer, and he's spending a lot of time helping them through their battle, and that you could see a thing that Aaron Rodgers might sign halfway through training camp. I mean, it's all guesses at this point. Little things come out every single day, but I try not to chase those because I'm tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers unless he is in the building. So you guys, I appreciate you being here. It's been fun building this young channel, and I will continue to be here with Pittsburgh Steelers news on the daily.